If you're going to quit caffeine for 30 days, here's exactly what you can expect. The very first symptom that typically people will experience that very first few days is headaches. And the reason you're going to experience headaches is because caffeine does restrict blood vessels, especially the ones that go to your brain and to your head. And when you are stopping with your caffeine, what happens naturally is those blood vessels are going to dilate again because you have not been taking and consuming caffeine. And so naturally, you're going to start feeling headaches, and it's a very common symptom. Now, these are just the initial side effects you're going to experience with withdrawal. The other side effect that you're also going to experience is feeling tired and sleepy. And the reason this happens is because caffeine also does help block a particular neurotransmitter receptor, adenosine, which adenosine in itself helps you to be more drowsy, sleepy, and tired. Because caffeine was blocking that for you, you're gonna feel that energy boost. But without it and have that withdrawal, you're gonna feel that sleepiness and tiredness for a little bit for the first, week or two because of that. Other things that you're going to also experience is you can also experience irritability, mood changes because of the reliant and dependency of taking caffeine on a regular basis. Now, this really depends how much caffeine you've been consuming on a day-to-day basis. If you've been just consuming maybe 1 cup of coffee a day, you might not experience this, but if you're someone that's been drinking 3 to 4 cups of coffee a day, you're going to have more symptoms of irritability. You're also going to have issues of feeling possibly some nausea, even sometimes tremors, muscle tremors, because of what caffeine can do to relaxing the muscles and sometimes even relaxing the nervous system for some people. On top of that, you also might find that you're going to have trouble focusing within that 1 to maybe even up to 2 weeks because caffeine increases excitatory brain chemicals such as norepinephrine, epinephrine, and even dopamine, which are all very important to be focused and to pay attention and have that concentration throughout the day. So when you wean off of it, you might experience that initial first week or 2 of not having the greatest focus and concentration. On top of that, you could also have experiences of depressed mood because caffeine does decrease drowsiness and increases more alertness and awareness. So therefore, you're going to feel more aware and alert and a little bit more happy because of being on caffeine. So you're going to experience possibly when you're going through this withdrawal effect. With about 9 to even up to 2 weeks, you might be experiencing this. Now, you might be asking yourself, why would I do something like this if I have to go through this? But here is exactly why you would want to do something like restricting and cutting back on caffeine or getting rid of it altogether, because there is a lot of benefits. Now, I'm also going to spend some time of what you can do specifically to avoid having these symptoms if you're deciding to try to quit caffeine. I'll explain that at the end of this video, so stick around. So if you manage to be able to get through 9 to 14 days, typically this is what I see with a lot of my patients and clients when they're trying to quit caffeine. One thing you definitely can experience is reduction of anxiety. Now, I know I just said that you can feel more stress and have more mood changes when you're trying to get withdrawal, but once you get past about 14 days, you will find that your anxiety is less. And the reason this being is because caffeine, remember I said, it increases the excitatory types of neurotransmitter brain chemistry, which is norepinephrine and epinephrine. Those two, when they are too high and you're drinking too much high amounts of caffeine, those increase too much, you're going to have a consistency of feeling agitated, irritated all the time of consuming too much caffeine. So by eliminating that, your norepinephrine and epinephrine levels, those excitatory type of brain chemicals, can be more balanced and you're going to feel a lot more relaxed and definitely have less anxiety in your life. The second great thing that you can start seeing and noticing is that when you are consuming lots of caffeine, you're going to have a hard time absorbing certain nutrients. And some of these nutrients that you're going to have a hard time absorbing are things like calcium, iron, and a lot of your different B vitamins. These are very important to have good energy, better mental health, and focus. So that is why I think it's really good in the long term to try to cut back on your caffeine. Now, like I said before, the other things that you could see that's beneficial by getting past the 14 days is you're going to find that your brain chemistry is going to be more balanced because it's not exciting all of them all the time, and you have more even balance and better mood overall. You're also going to find that you're going to have better sleep. Now, like I said before, that first initial week, yes, you're going to have trouble with sleep when you're withdrawing from caffeine. But if you can get past that, you will find your sleep is going to be better overall because it's not spiking, a lot of times not spiking cortisol levels in your system or even spiking all those excitatory different neurotransmitters that keep you up at night. And by bringing that, in fact, what people don't realize, when you drink a cup of coffee, it does sometimes can have a 10-hour lifespan before it can bring those levels down. So if you drink a cup of coffee in the middle of the day, you might have a hard time falling asleep at night. And by finally getting reduced that or getting rid of it altogether, you're going to find that you're going to sleep better. Now, if you're finding any value in this, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button, because I talk everything about ways to improve your mental health, your brain, to be able to focus, have better energy, and just more better vitality throughout your entire body. So go ahead and subscribe and hit the like button. The other thing that you're going to find is that if you are dealing with high blood pressure, caffeine can actually increase blood pressure. It has been shown in research that it does this. I've seen this a lot with my patients. When we start cutting back on the caffeine, we're able to lower the blood pressure and not have to be so dependent on high blood pressure medications. You also will experience less headaches, because initially, yes, I did say you're going to experience headaches with withdrawal effects. That usually happens within that very first week. Once you get past about week 1, then you will find that you won't have the headaches anymore, because you're having that consistent blood flow to the brain. The caffeine's not restricting the blood vessels. It's having the blood vessels be nice and dilated, and that's where it should be. The other great thing is you're going to definitely have a much healthier digestive system, because caffeine has properties as a laxative. You probably maybe experienced when you drink too much caffeine, you start having the runs, and you might have some IBS symptoms, irritable bowel syndrome. And that's probably because you're consuming too much caffeine, because it has that laxative effect. So when you're starting to cut back on caffeine and getting rid of it altogether, you'll find you'll have more consistent bowel movements and not having runny stool or having upset abdominal pain and gassing and bloating because of cutting back on the caffeine or getting rid of it altogether. Now, some other really great things that you can benefit from going past 30 days that you can experience. So these are all the things you can experience past 14 to all the way up to 30 days, but going past and beyond 30 days and cutting back on your caffeine or getting rid of it altogether is you're going to have more balanced hormones. Caffeine has been known to actually increase estrogen levels, which can be a bad thing, especially for women. If you have too high of estrogen levels, this can affect your mood. It can affect all different things on aspects of your health because of having too increased levels of estrogen. But overall, you're going to find that you're going to have better focus, better energy, and better mood throughout your life when you do cut back on caffeine. Now, I am not here to say that caffeine is extremely bad. I think what you need to do is there's moderation. You should implement it as a stimulant. And what I always say as a rule of thumb is you want to be probably sticking with maybe 1 cup of coffee a day or 1 every other day as just a natural little bit of stimulant, and that is fine. It's when you go above beyond that where things start getting even worse. And so I mentioned at the beginning, I'm going to share with you what I give a lot of my patients and clients what to do to avoid a lot of these withdrawal effects if you're considering cutting back on caffeine or at least eliminating caffeine altogether. What you can do is, one, you got to understand, why are you dealing with low energy? Why do you feel like you need coffee to just get you up in the morning? Well, it possibly could be a cortisol situation. Are your cortisol levels so depleted that you have to rely on a stimulant to bring that up? And this has to do with usually because your adrenals are shot. Your adrenals are not functioning properly. And so you have to use a stimulant to squeeze and ask more epinephrine, norepinephrine, all these different things that the adrenals does release, as well as cortisol, to have that energy, but it's not giving any nutrients to the adrenals. So what you need to be doing is supporting the adrenals by giving it proper nutrients, as well as eliminating stressors in your life that could be stressing the adrenals too much. And so it's demanding too much from it. So if you can eliminate stressors in your life, as well as doing something supporting the adrenals, which this could be either adrenal desiccation, it can be other adrenal support stuff such as ashwagandha, if used properly, but other supportive herbs to support the adrenals can go a long way, because you're feeding the adrenals and not taking and demanding from it, such as what caffeine does. Now, if you're someone that is struggling with feeling tired all the time and don't know what to do, then you should watch this video next, where I dive into my secrets of how to eliminate low energy, and you should watch this video next.